Yo, it's McCreepers, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the tier list for, or unit tier list for update 4. Just want a quick heads up, if you guys were on stream yesterday, you know I did the tier list, and it's going to be exactly the same, it's just I'm going to be summarizing a little bit more since I was talking for like 30 minutes, which, yeah, obviously I can't make a 30-minute tier list. So we're just going to be doing these in order. I just copied, off of the wiki all the units, so that's why they're like in order pretty much from Vanguards to Mythics. So starting off, we have Diavolo, who I feel like at this point is mainly used for support. He doesn't do that much damage, so it's like I can't really put him in S tier because he has like insane support, but his damage just isn't there, and his support can be, the problem is his ability has a really long cooldown. Gogeta is going to be top of S tier. I don't know if I need to say anything more. He's the highest DPS unit in the game. Lucy is an insane support. Not to mention that she won't be getting a buff, but they will be, as I know, she's currently bugged, and I think they are fixing her. But her her nullification will be doing more than what it is right now. Amelia, another support, she freezes. Fubuki, SPA support. Nothing more can really be said about those. Kareem got pretty big, or was it Kareem or Hareem? I don't remember. He's actually pretty good now because, you know, with Yamamoto, who's full AoE, we actually have a good burn unit to go with him, so he's actually pretty good. Rum and Rom are still one of the best, like cheap units that have like a really high DPS. But yeah, everything about her is like just really good. She has low SPA, high damage, cheap cost, poor placement, multi-hit. She's just really good. Daedra, solid abilities, okay-ish damage. Everything else is just mediocre. Sorcery, who's probably, I would say, like the second best burn unit in the game right now because he has 50% burn. I mean, nothing more can really be said about him. He's okay. Gilgamesh S tier. He's immune to everything. He has a nuke, good damage, good range, good AoE. That's all I can really say about him. Dio, he's the support unit for me at this point because he has a really cheap time stop. It's only costs around 20 to 30k, I believe, to get his time stop. But other than that, his damage is beyond mid. The Don to Don units here, I'll just do this. The reason why, like I said yesterday on stream, thought it was fucking. So Val said something funny because I was talking about all these Don to Don units, and like I kind of think to myself, I'm like, yeah, they don't really do anything. And that's when he said D's for Don to Don tier, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of funny, so why not? But yeah, so all these units are just kind of ass. This is just D tier, but yeah, these guys are all kind of just dog shit. Zion, he's another burn unit that's just solid. I wouldn't say he does anything like special. Toji is still a really good unit. He still breaks shields, which is like insane. And not to mention he does more damage to shielded enemies. So like his DPS is still really good. Not to mention he's fully AoE, relatively cheap. Rengoku, another support unit, was Purgatory Flames. Julius, support unit, freezes. Haruka, support unit, damage and range buff. And then I'm going to do these three right here. I'm going to put them in order at how I believe they should be ranked. And then I'll talk about them each. Okay, so first up we have Aizen. I think he overall has like the most damage potential, but also having really good support abilities or just utility abilities. What I mean by that is that he has his ability, which stops enemies essentially in one area for 15 seconds while increasing his own damage exponentially at the same time, which is it's a great pairing. Not to mention his second ability, if you use life stocks correctly, you can like just get some insane damage done because it sends enemy badge like 5 seconds, so it's just really good. Yamamoto, I feel like it's the best like all around unit of the three. His damage is really good. He does burn and he does summons, which is his really main support ability. I would say is that he has summons that spawn in with 40% of his damage, which is a lot once you get him max out. But overall, he just does everything really well. He's full AoE, he does burn, he has really good damage. It's not like as high as Aizen, but it's still really good. And he has summons that are actually good, unlike this dude. And then next up we have Yuha, who I'm not going to talk about too much, but to me he's a new Ragna that he's essentially Ragna, but except you don't need buff units. It's the way I see him. And he's fully AoE. He can attack 2 times, and he's immune to all status elements. And he can also be a support unit if you want. So it's just overall everything about him is good. Next up we have Saber Alter. She's going to be top of A tier for me. I would have her S tier purely because of her damage, but the problem is that she still slows all units, even not your own. I believe, or maybe it is only your own, or not slows them, but it gives them an SPA debuff, and you can't really. Well, yes, you can run Sakura. The problem with Sakura these days is that, what was I gonna say? Oh, there's more units now that take away livestock, like Ichigo. So it's like, maybe Sakura's ability it's not going to be as good anymore. It's going to be harder to justify it her using Sakura. That's just her usability is kind of just it's starting to fall off a little bit. Next up, we have Esdef. I think I'm going to have her underneath Saber. She does insane damage on placement. She does freeze, and she has a good support ability, which her essentially like 10-second full AoE freeze. So overall, she's a really good unit, all around unit. Her damage at max isn't like Aizen level, but like it's still really high, and she's a freeze unit. And so yeah, she has both good support and damage. However, I don't believe she outclasses anyone in S tier, unfortunately. Subaru, another support unit. Valentine, I'm just gonna throw him here. I still don't have him, but from what I heard from people, he's just an okay DPS, I think, at this point. Alucard is going to be S tier still. Close to the bottom of S tier, but still S tier. Still in the same support ability, even with Kisuke, because Kisuke is worse than him. And then just still overall decent damage. It doesn't hold up as much anymore, but it's still solid. Gojo S tier. Once again, his damage isn't like his damage is fine. It's more so his SBA holds him back. Albeit with Sakura, you can lower it, but as I mentioned earlier, Sakura is it's sometimes hard to use Sakura right now with Ichigo and his ability. So it's just like overall, but still, he still has a 10-second time stop on a 60-second cooldown, which is like insane. Still, next we have Ragna. You guys are probably gonna give me a little shit for this, but as I mentioned before, I truly believe Yuha is essentially Ragna, but better, purely for the fact that Yuha doesn't restrict you from only bringing buff units. But overall, he's still really good. His potential is still there. It's just for me, it's just not as good anymore. I'm sorry. Igris gonna be top of B tier, like top mid B tier. He's still full AoE unit, but I mean, his damage doesn't hold up anymore. Gazelle, another support unit. Essentially, I'm not gonna talk too much about him, but long story short, he buffs summon health by 50%. So I mean, yeah. Ichigo A tier. I would say either in between as def or under as def, or above as def or under. These two are probably interchangeable for me. But he does insane damage with his ability. Not to mention, if you use life stocks and you get all three your Ichigos down, they will all be doing like 100k on that one attack. Not to mention, it increases their permanent damage, and then if you use another life stock, they'll do even more damage. So it's all around really good unit. The only thing that really holds him back is his lack of immunity. Saber, I'm gonna have right under D3 because their damage is still there. It's just not as. It's just she's slowly starting to fall off a little bit. Her damage is still there. It's just not what it once was. Not even that what once was. It's just the problem that I have with Saber is that I'll have to say this about a lot of the older units like Update 2 and older. I think the new design philosophy for a lot of these units is more based around their passives rather than their raw stats. Like I would say, like you, specifically like Aizen, and but like I think a lot of these units will still be usable even when they become older, just because of how their passives work. Versus Saber, who's just mainly DPS and DPS only, which while is good, because DPS units are needed. It's just over time she will have less value than some of these other units, and we can see this especially here with Alucard. He's like one of the few older units that I believe has been able to stay relevant for so long because of his passives. That's why she's there. Or him in our support. Lily, I'll put at the top of B, maybe bottom A. Her ability is pretty solid. It's just her damage isn't super great. I know it's Monarch. She's kind of actually crazy. Not to mention, pair with Gazelle. She can be pretty solid. Yoriichi, I'm gonna have right under Ichigo. She has an insane. Her SBA is absolutely crazy. She has solid damage. She stuns. She does more damage to stun. Just all around really solid unit. Does a little bit of support. Has a really high DPS. Is really great if you want to run her and Sakura in a high like SBA unit like Aizen the lower SBA. Just all around really solid. Kisuke gonna be a support unit. Budget fucking Alucard. Ishtar I'm at bottom of S tier because she does both. She has a support ability with her passive. She has a nuke at her last upgrade, and she does solid damage. Lancer gonna be bottom of S tier, the very bottom of S tier. Overall damage isn't great, but he does have rupture, which nullifies all regen or cancels all regen. So there you go. Jahane C tier. He has a little bit of usability, it's just not there. Naruto, he's gonna be the only other unit in this Don to Don tier. Kenpachi, I'm gonna have. I don't know if I want to put her above Esdef. I think I'm gonna do that. I think honestly, Esdef and Yoruichi are kind of all of these four units are kind of all interchangeable to an extent. But Kenpachi is really good because he does insane damage. He's a full AoE slow unit and has the longest slow duration in the game, I think, other than Diavolo with ability. I'm pretty sure it lasts longer, but outside of that, I think he has the longest stun duration now. Archer, I'm gonna put him right here. He has a decent ability that increases damage, and you have blast units like Gogeta, it can be really good, and he does solid damage since he does crit. With Deadeye, his damage can be like actually insane, but I think he does cause quite a bit to level or to actually max out, unfortunately. Jogo, a lot. You'll notice it seems a lot of old burn units. They're all kind of just, I would say, fell off into mediocrity. Who do you? I'll put him at the top of B tier since the potential is there. I can understand the design of his kit. It's just right now his usability isn't there. But I can see potentially in the long run how he may become useful. Just right now his damage isn't it, and it's just his usability just isn't there right now. Toto, another D tier unit. Obito is at top of C, bottom of B. Here he just fallen off over time. Next up, you have Choso, still the best bleed unit in the game. Nothing more can be said about that. I feel like I don't need to say anything more about that. Johnny, I'm going to do Gyro as well, just because I still don't have them. I think they're just okay DPS options. But yeah, that's just, if you want to move these guys like bottom of B, top of C, or even bottom of A, I would understand. I wouldn't have a problem. But just for me anyway, that's where he's going to go. Medea is going to be a support unit for me at this point because her nullification with her nullification ability. Akaza, you're going to be bottom of C, top of D. I'm okay with putting him bottom of C tier. You guys might disagree. Crocodile support, Sasuke support, Medusa is. I think I need to try out Medusa again because I've been seeing a lot of people say her DPS is like kind of crazy. So I'll try it out again, but for now I'll leave her in B tier because I think she does. I know she does do bleed and her ability is okay, but I've seen multiple people say now that her DPS is insane. So I have to go back and revisit her. Vegeta, going to be bottom of A tier for me at this point. He still holds a special place in my heart, just since he was my first ever Mystic unit, and he carried me for story. But overall, I think he's a really good story unit, but other than that, his usability isn't super there. And he can be useful for some boss rushes, for like the early wave, mainly the Igris one in particular is what I'm thinking of. But overall, he's just not what he once was. Sakura, another support. Tengen, to me, him and Igris are essentially the same unit. They're both full AoE units that just fell off with time. Igris, or not Igris, Sunjin Wu, once again, just falling off with time. Power creep, only really good for leaderboard ones that you have like Infinite or you have Monarch on him. Sukuna, I will say, is like low to midish A tier. I think you can say either above or below Toji, whatever you want. Just say I think it's probably fine. I think I'll put him below, but overall, he has like his kit is like on paper really good because he does solid damage. He's immune to everything because he's immune to stun and he's also immune to snare. Well, not immune to everything, but he has a decent amount of immunity. He does DOT, has a little bit of support with his bleed amp. He has a little mini nuke. I would say it's not even a mini nuke. It is a nuke with his finisher sanctum. It just doesn't. The problem with all of his things is just compared to newer units, it's just worse. Like on paper, his kit is like really good. It's just weak in comparison to like newer units, you know. But yeah, this is like I think I'm happy with this tier list. I don't think I would change anything. Like I said, Johnny and Gyro, I'm still really unsure of. So if you want to move them around a bit, I would totally agree. I think everybody in A tier, I'm okay with. Like I said, I think these four right here are all kind of interchangeable. I think Diavolo's biggest problem is that his damage is lacking and his support, while good, is kind of not a third situational. It's just on the long cooldown. And I think I already kind of explained all of my placements in S tier, so I'm not going to go over that again. I will say the only thing I might say is that if you want to put Ragnar above Gojo, I'm more than okay with that. But I see Gojo having longer potential or longer usability with his time stop. But yeah. Anyway, that's the tier list. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.